Let it rip. It's Battletoads time. I say Battletoads. That's not even the word that I needed. That's not English. Ya fuck nugget. Ya dirty fuck nugget. Ugh. I gotta make sure I got the disconnection. And then I gotta apply the reconnection. I don't know what to do next, but I know what I'm about to do. What's up, Lightning? What's up, Static? I know we're gonna be talking about some crazy shit, cause it's another Manic episode. No, things about to get crazy. Let's get on with the show. Dang. I was singing a phrase from Beyblade, but not Beyblade, but kind of Beyblade, but you know. It's another day. Out here playing, out here listening to the Beyblades. Out here for another day. Beyblade. And can you tell that I probably have been not drinking, but drinking too damn goddamn not much? Either way, it's not a smart idea. And that's a bunch of nonsense on my Twitter. As in on my Twitter. No, it's Sunday. It's Sunday. It's not a game. A day off would imply that I had to work today. I don't. It's Sundays. I never work. Oh, thank you, Gavin. I appreciate it, bruh. We out here trying to make some money moves. The Super Bowl's on. We ain't about that life. Fuck all that. So we got a couple things. I think the two main things are going to be the Wonderful 101 rumor. Particularly because we'll know tomorrow if it's true. And then probably we're going to talk about the Pokemon Home situation, which has become its own bag of worms. Once again, there hasn't been a lot of newsworthy stuff going on, so it wasn't like I had a lot to pick from. But those are just a couple of things we're gonna start with, and then I'm gonna obviously check the Discord for any questions. Actually, oh, what's up, Antrite? Smash Bros is pretty fun. Had a lot of good times. Real quick, let me open up the Discord to see if there's anything of note and questions that were asked that can be. I love the fact that I can scan like a QR code and log into my Discord through my phone. That's just like a cool feature we have now. Modern technology is great. Let's see, yeah, I understand that. I can understand that. Let's see. Let's check to see what questions may have emerged. I think we had a couple. Yeah, we have like two. Which, ironically, one of them is a topic, which is Sorosan Kraken's asking about what are your thoughts on Pokemon Home and the current price model. We're going to get into it, so there's no point in really keeping. But Sorosan, thank you for the question, but we're going to talk about it anyway, so it's fine. So let's delete that one. Just squeal and ours because I think it be potential there since. Oh, sequel is what he probably meant. Okay. Well, I'll keep. So I think I'm gonna start off with the Pokemon Home thing, considering their stuff. Considering Sorosan asked a question, and that is kind of one of the news things that people were gonna ask me about because Pokemon and it's me, so I already figured that was gonna be a situation. So if you want to ask me questions in the Discord, put it in the Discord under podcast under questions for AME. The Discord link is in the description. So join the Discord and ask some questions. And then, so I'm going to address the Pokemon Home stuff first and then jump into the question. So if you want to jump in there, go ahead. I've heard about the Mario Kart 9 rumor. I've heard some of it. I don't know a lot. It doesn't seem, it's not that it doesn't seem realistic. We'll get into it. So first things first, let's address Pokemon Home and the situation going on with that. So, for those who don't know, they put out, I believe it was just like a trailer or some tweets explaining what Pokemon Home is, what the price model is, and the structure. And we're going to go, and that launches sometime this month. I don't even think they gave like a specific date. To my knowledge, they didn't give a specific date. I think they just said February. It launches this month. Actually, I might, you know what? I don't know if you guys want. Do you want me to put up like the graphic on the stream or not? Because it kind of takes up the whole page, but we can do it real quick for the sake of it. Let's see. Let's copy this. And then I'll take it down after a little while. I just want to. But it might be more beneficial for you guys to have it. So. No regrets. Fuck me. Now I'm singing. Oh, wow. That's transparent. That's kind of funny. It's transparent. That's kind of funny. Lol. I didn't know that was transparent. I thought. Huh. That is something I would not have expected. Okay, then. GG. So this is Pokemon Home, everybody. Oh, shit. So let's get into the premium paid stuff. This whole thing is actually half transparent. That's crazy. Well, I guess we're gonna do this for a little bit and see what happens. Hey, look, it gets this. I don't know why that's funny to me. That's just funny to me. The fact that this is just an animation and everything's transparent. So I'm being swallowed up by the icon. Oh, my body. All right, let's stop. I'm being ridiculous. So this is the Pokemon Home. You have a basic plan and then you have a premium plan. Essentially, moving from Pokemon Bank is only... The basic plan is the free version, by the way. There's a free version and a paid version. So, as you can see, these are the structures for how you can do the paid version. You can spend $3 for a month, $5 for 3 months, or $16 for 12 months. You can't trade with Pokemon. You can't move from Pokemon Bank in the free version. You can only move 30 Pokemon in the free version. You can only have 3 Pokemon to Wonder Trade. You can only have 1 Pokemon place the GTS at once. You can trade, but you can't host anything, and you don't have the judge function. The judge function is for those who may not know, the judge function is what allows you to pretty much see a Pokemon's IVs, if they have like perfect IVs or not. I don't understand why the fuck that is specifically a premium function. I feel like that should be free. And it kind of gets into people's issues with Home in the first place. So I think most people's issues, like the pricing in itself, is not like a terrible situation. Like $16 a year for the ability to do all these things, which I guess I'll go back to features real quick. Can I go back to features on here? No, I got to do it this way, don't I? So these are the features. We have the National Pokédex, which is kind of ridiculous. Like, it even shows you per game and everything. This is the part that blew me the fuck away. That not only do they show you the Pokemon, but they also show you all the abilities it has and what moves it can learn. And I think part of my frustration, because I'm mixed with it. So, all right, so here's my thing. I think it's cool that it exists and that it's like a modern feature. The fact that there's a Switch version and a phone version, which I think, yeah, here he is. These are the different version features. I think it's kind of annoying that I have to use only certain things work on certain versions of it. So if I use the Nintendo Switch version, there's like 3 or 4 things that just don't fucking work. And the same thing goes for the phone version where certain things don't work. I get it, but the one thing I think that would have made this a lot better is that, how do I put this? I'm trying to find the best way to explain this, because I have different issues with it, for and against it. I think my thing against it is that some of these features should just be in the fucking game. One of the things that pisses me off is that a lot of people, like, this is, to me, this is like Cerebi level shit. Like, half the reason why people go to Cerebi as a website for Pokemon stuff is because the games don't have the information there. Like moves and abilities and base stats and shit and moves that they can learn. That shit is not in the main games. What's in the main games is the Pokemon, and you won't know if the TM or the TR works until you try it. Tweet it out. Oh, what? Tweet out the stream. Also, what's up, Jazz? But like, I feel like that shit. The fact that I can see what moves Machamp can learn and all the abilities it has, that shit should be. This shit should be in the main game. I don't understand why this is specifically closed in to Pokemon Home, because that's something people have wanted in the main games. You know how people wouldn't have to use guides as much. Pokemon, unfortunately, competitive Pokemon is a guide game, and granted, it's competitive, so people think, oh, well, that gives it a pass. But this is shit like that shit. I think this shit is what bothers me the most. That shit should just be in the fucking game. Moves it can learn and its abilities, hidden or otherwise, should be in the game. That's what frustrates me. That should not be a phone exclusive feature. Now, the advantage is that Home is free. The free version of Home doesn't take this out. It annoys me that taking the ability to see perfect IVs on Pokemon, that aggravates me. That bothers me though. But like some of this other stuff I'm fine with. Okay, fine, the national decks. I think that makes sense to me because that would only really be relevant in Home. It wouldn't be relevant in the other games. Some of the judging this shit shouldn't be locked out either, personally. Especially because it's already in the main game. I can already judge in the main game. But I think this is more detailed. I can't. Can I zoom in? Let's see if it'll let me zoom in. It may not let me do this. We're going to try it anyway. No. I was going to zoom in and it didn't let me do it. But you're going to have to just take my word for it or look it up on the site. So that's kind of frustrating. At the same time, I don't think it's too expensive. I don't think it's like $16 a year. It's fine. Or the $3 a year or $3 a month, I think is the lowest you could spend, right? Let's see. Make sure. Yeah, $3 a month also isn't terrible by any means. And I do want to put in context some of the complaints I saw, which is that, oh, you have to spend $60 for the game, $30 for the DLC, $5 for bank, $16 for this, for Home, and then $20 for the Nintendo Online subscription. I have my opinions towards and against that. The first thing is, people said that but don't recognize that, like, the DLC you don't have to buy. Because remember, they told you they would patch the game so you can get those mods. So realistically, you could just pay for Home and be perfectly cool. Like, you could pay for Home, wait until they patch the game when the DLC comes out, and then just trade all those Pokemon over from your other games, from Ultra Sun and Moon, or Sun and Moon, or Aurus, or the Virtual Console releases of Gen 1 and 2, I think, or X and Y. Like, those games. So I don't think the DLC, adding the $30 in there, is a fair argument. Because most of the people who are even interested in Home only care about Home in the context of, oh, by the way, I want to get such and such Pokemon. Like, if you're interested in Home, it's because you want certain Pokemon in your main game, not because you care about the story. A lot of people don't give a fuck about the story of Pokemon like that. If you're all about the competitive scene. So if that's the case, it's not like you have to buy the DLC to get those Pokemon, because you more than likely have already caught those Pokemon in other games. So I don't agree with that argument. I do think something that would have helped, I think they tried, but I don't feel like they went far enough. For example, for those who don't know, the first month this shit comes out, you will be able to get you will be able to use Pokemon Bank on the 3DS for free, which is like an incentive to get Home early so you can take advantage of the 30 days that you don't have to pay for Bank. One, I feel like Bank should have just became free in general, Or, and I think this one would have been a cooler idea. It won't work. Well, the thing is, you could transfer from the. Essentially, what's going to have to happen, Entree, is that you have to transfer from the DS to Bank, or DS to the 3DS games, but I think it's just DS to Bank, and then you can go from Bank to Home. But the thing I think they should have done is made Home kind of a bonus if you were a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber. Considering you need Nintendo Switch Online anyway, to me it would have made more sense to have it as an incentive. So if you bought, I'm not going to say like a month or 2 months, but if you bought like a year subscription for Nintendo Switch Online, then you should be able to get this with it. Like Pokemon Home Premium should be included. As long as you maintain a yearly subscription, you get to maintain Pokemon Home. Because the thing is, if you're using Pokemon Home, that means you're using it for not only Sword and Shield, but also the Pokemon Bank, the 3DS games. I feel like that would have helped ease some of the outrage. Because realistically, even if I take out the $30 from the DLC, you're still spending a good chunk of change. You're still spending $60 for the Gen 8 games. You're still spending the $20 or so for the online subscription. Although I think that's an exaggeration in its own right, because you can buy those things monthly. Like you could just spend $3 plus the $5 I think you pay for Bank, and I think online, I forget how much 1 month is for Nintendo Switch Online, but I think it's like around the same thing, $2 to $3 or some shit. Like, since you're spending that anyway, I think it might be $5 at the most. I don't remember though. The least amount of money you could spend is like, to have it for just a month, I would say is probably, to have it for just a month, it's probably like, including the game and the online, it's probably somewhere like towards $100 maybe, if that, because it'd be 60 plus, actually be 60 plus 5, 10, probably like somewhere around like $70, $70 or $80. But like, that's the thing, none of this shit's required. Like if you're a casual fan, Home doesn't even apply to you. Home is like a premium service in nature, because this is the shit like that no one will really care about. Having, I don't know, for me, I don't like, I didn't use Bank. I didn't use Bank only primarily because there was no value. For me, I wasn't doing competitive, so I didn't see the point in using Bank. I'm curious what your guys' opinions are on it, because I can understand the scumminess of it all, but it's also not nothing crazy. I think the most offensive part to me is that certain features I feel like should be in the main games. I think the ability to see what moves your Pokemon can learn should have been in the game. And the fact that you have to buy premium to judge your Pokemon to see their IVs, I think is kind of dumb. Everything else I'm pretty fine with. I don't know how I feel about the moving from Pokemon Bank being a premium feature. Bank wasn't, no, let's see. I'm going to go check, because we need to educate ourselves. Pokemon Bank price. Pokemon Bank is... No, it's $5 a year. It's $5 a year, and I guess the trade-off is also that Pokemon Home doubles the amount of Pokemon you can have. Like Pokemon Bank lets you hold up to 3,000. Pokemon Home lets you hold up to 6,000. But yeah, it was $5 a year. But for me personally, I probably won't use it, to be real with you, because I didn't use Bank. Like people were tripping out about Bank back in Gen 6, and I didn't care about Bank. A lot of people won't use this feature. That's the irony of it all. Well, Prince, I wasn't going to go into that. I wasn't going to make that statement. You know that new Final Fantasy VII trailer dropped. Everybody's so excited for a game that's half done because they got to saw Cloud in a dress. But hey, who am I to judge what people get excited about? I think that's like the one game that does not deserve the hype it gets, but it's going to get it anyway because it's Final Fantasy fucking 7. Which is a fucking shame, but oh well, we can't really do anything about it. Shit just kind of happens. But like I said, I think that I would have felt better about it if it was like a bundled in with. For one, it makes Nintendo Switch Online look better, and it makes people more interested in getting into it. If I had to spend $20 anyway, or maybe have it cost like $5 more. Like you could, if you bought Nintendo Switch Online, but you added like another $5, then you could also get Pokemon Home at like a discount. Like that's a discount for home. If you own Nintendo Switch Online, you get Pokemon Home Premium for $5. Like something, because the 1 month free of bank doesn't mean much, because that means instead of spending $20, I just spend $16. All right, well, and it also depends on if you, let's say you cancel your subscription to home, do the Pokemon in your home account, do those just disappear, or are they in limbo? Like can I have it for a month and then cut it off for another month? Like would the Pokemon still be there if I renew my subscription later? I would think so, because it seems kind of mean for that not to be a thing. Let's see. I don't think there's any frequently asked questions. It's not that I don't think it looks good visually. I just don't think it's worth. I don't think it should have been a broken up game. I feel like that was Square being greedy because they've been broke for a while. Mystery gifts. Let's see. You will be able to receive news about Pokemon being distributed. That's trading for battle points. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't know. If you like, that's the only thing I'm not sure. I would think you would be fine if you like didn't pay for home for a month, and if you came back, as long as it was under your account, it would be fine. Alright, good enough. I can't read this fucking text though. You can move Pokemon from Let's Go Pikachu to Pokemon. Okay, that's just saying you can't trade between the Let's Go games, but that's not really giving you any more context. Also, why is there just this weird dead zone? Hello everybody, I'm surrounded by bubbles. Call me Bubble Man because I'm popping these bitches. Hold on. If I made the background darker over here on the chat, no, on the chat over here, then you couldn't see my arm. It looked like I'm encased in bubbles. I don't know. I'm easily entertained. I apologize. But that's kind of where I stand with home. Like, I'm not overly against it, but I also can understand people's frustrations, and I do believe that some of this shit should have just been in the main game. Primarily, like, the battle moves and stuff. That irks me probably more than anything else. And the fact that you gotta go, that's now like 3 different pricing structures you gotta go through, which is owning. To be fair, I feel like the owning the game argument is not as good, because your interest in this is based on you owning the game. Why would you care about this if you don't own Sword and Shield? And the game is one-time payment. Like, if you're even looking at Pokemon Home in the first place, that means you already at least own one of these games. So the $60, I don't really get. $60, they want to keep acting like the $60 is a constant charge. It's not. Now, Bank and Home are, but not. But let's see. They can expand on the game with one disc using multiple discs. It might be. Oh, you're talking about Final Fantasy. Half of a game I made is negative. I haven't heard much criticism for Final Fantasy VII, except for its development. Everything else has been great. I knew the Final Fantasy stuff was going to come up, which we can talk about that too, but I'm just curious if anyone has their thoughts and opinions on Home. Because for me, like, Home isn't really what I consider overly offensive. Also, I don't count that. I mean, Revolver, it takes place in Midgar, and from what I remember, Midgar is not half the game. Midgar was like less than a quarter of the game. Like, Midgar is a small portion of the game, so I don't view that as half the game. And we don't know if it's going to be more than half. My issue with Final Fantasy VII is that and I think Square's been having this issue in general. The Square is so focused on the big budget like production, they forget that like people just want to play a good fucking game. So I feel like the game will suffer in the long run because of this broken ass approach. What is the DLC for Final Fantasy VII anyway? That's my question. I think we looked this up before and I completely forgot because I literally have like no interest in this shit. Let's check because I don't remember what the DLC was. Oh, you mean we should get the whole game, which I agree with that. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I can play the entirety of Final Fantasy VII on other consoles. Now, granted, obviously this one looks way better and has a higher production, but I also am going to spend like 4 or 5 times as much on the same game. Let's see. What was the DLC? I don't see. Hold on a second. Heaven Remake. I just want to know what the DLC is. And why a game like this had... Also, why does this thing already have a rating? The game isn't even out yet, guys. The fuck? Where is the... I need like a buying page. Oh, here it is. Let's see. I knew it had a collector's edition. Let's say I'll go to Amazon. What is the deal? Does it tell me or is it just told me in the collector's edition? We looked this up before. I know we did. Oh yeah, it includes the Cactar DLC and the Summon Material DLC. Those are like the 2 DLCs it gets. And I was kind of like... But granted, I don't know how much further the DLC goes. And I feel like that's a problem in its own right. It's one of those games that I think will sell literally just because it's Final Fantasy VII. And not to say the game doesn't look good, but to me, I can't get behind a remake that feels like a cash grab, even with its improved graphics. Because realistically, all they need to fix is make it a full fucking game. It frustrates me that Western development has gotten so expensive, so the way they recoup on costs is to make the game in parts and sell it to you in parts. If Zelda had a remake that was broken in multiple people, I'd be pissed. And I don't understand. I feel like Final Fantasy gets a pass for this because it's Final Fantasy. Which is dumb because people weren't even that happy about 15. 15 wasn't that good to a lot of people. So what the fuck? Why all of a sudden are we willing to be like, man, we're going to give them a pass because they're remaking my favorite game in the franchise? And for me personally, I'm just getting into the RPG genre. Final Fantasy Remake is not what I want to start. I wouldn't start off with that anyway. I would start off, if you're going to start with Final Fantasy, start off with Final Fantasy 7 on the PC or on the Switch. Like, start with the original Final Fantasy 7 because that is the beginning of the 3D Final Fantasies. Or I go back and play some of the older games, which I think have been ported to mobile at this point. It's weird that those would have been the games I would have had like the secondary team, like the Bravely Default team work on. Where they were fucking like, if you're going to do Octopath Traveler and have this cool ass game engine, use it for the other Final Fantasy games, god damn it. I would have been down to play Final Fantasy 6 like that. But that's me personally. Actually, Lazy One, we literally just said the same thing. No, it's not that they're afraid to make a Final Fantasy game. I think they're afraid to make a big budget game. I think they're too willing to make giant budget games. Because that's what this is. Except the difference between this and like Final Fantasy 15 is that this is guaranteed to make money. People will buy this just because it's 7. Which is fucking asinine, but it is true. Oh shit, that's a remake of 7. I can't believe this. We gotta get this. But I don't care. But I don't want to get too much into the Square Enix conversation again because we talked about that last time. I guess final word on Home is that Home looks okay, but I can definitely understand why people are mad with it. And Game Freak could have handled pushing this better. But I don't think Home is like terrible. But I can understand people's frustrations. I'm in like the middle of the road when it comes to Home. I'm in the middle of the road. And then we have the other part of this, which is the Wonderful 101 controversy coming out, which is that supposedly tomorrow we're supposed to be getting an announcement for a Kickstarter and a Switch port. Now, the one thing I'm not sure of is if the Wonderful 101 Kickstarter is that for the PlayStation 4 version and the Xbox version, or just the Xbox version. Meaning, what I'm meaning to say is the PS4 version already confirmed, or is it a part of the Kickstarter? I'm not sure. Also, I could have swore Nintendo owned the rights to that IP, but it could be that Platinum owns the rights to it, because there's no way Nintendo would be like, oh yeah, I'll totally help you port that game over. Because I'm betting that's what happened. I'm betting that the Switch version of Wonderful 101, if it comes out, that Nintendo helped pay for that, but obviously would not help paying for the other versions of the game, because they don't give a fuck about the other versions of the game. The Pokemon community has a lot of problems, and it's going through kind of a renaissance, is like what I like to call it, or a cleansing of itself. What's up, Fiji? I know I've seen you in here before. Hope you're doing well. What's the Final Fantasy at 15 in horrible development? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy. Well, it used to be Versus 13. That's what 15 was the Versus game. And 15 had to have like a definitive edition come out for it. I had to use Pokemon Ring. They were charging like $10, so more people had to play. I mean, people are willing to give money for Shenmue 3 Kickstarter while showing the ending of Shenmue 2 in the E3. And I think you mentioned it earlier, they don't even need to get the DLC. People are just... Yeah, exactly. Which is my favorite? Jav? What's Jav? So, alright, so the Wonderful 101 situation is interesting. So I went and looked up the sales for the original Wii U title. Wonder Woman 1 didn't even sell 400,000 copies. It sold like 360,000 copies. Yeah, okay. So they do own the trademark for Wonderful 101. That's why I don't understand the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter only makes sense to me if Nintendo gave them back the IP. Do you have any way for me to check bad latency? Like, is there like, would it be on Nintendo's site? Like, how do I check, I guess? Because that was the thing I was trying to look up earlier this weekend and I could not find it. I'm like, where is the proof that like Nintendo owns certain trademarks? And that was the thing I was concerned about. Let's see. Jav is Japanese adult video. I don't have a favorite Japanese adult video because that spans a lot of stuff. How Wonderful 1, never beat it. Everyone knows. I love Platinum games. It's a shame they don't sell well. Oh yeah, I don't even talk about that because the Switch sales came out and everything. So yeah, currently, yeah, Nintendo still owns it. Nintendo still owns the IP. I'm looking now. I found it on this. I don't know if this is legit. Y'all let me know if it is, but this is, I did find. Currently, it looks like they still own the IP for it though. But I don't understand if that's the case, because that's what I thought. I thought they owned the IP for it. If they own the IP and the trademark, how could there be a fucking Kickstarter? The only way that would work is if Nintendo gave Platinum the rights to be like, look, if you raise such and such money for this Kickstarter, and don't they own Astral Chain too? Let me just make sure. I'm pretty sure they own Astral Chain too, but I'm just double checking. Let's see. Let's see. Isn't there a Nintendo series on PC? Which one? Let's see. Let's see. So Astral Chain is owned by Nintendo, but so is Wonderful 101. So I don't understand why they would have. I don't understand why Nintendo would have given them the ability to do that. And of course, I did not close out Hangouts because I'm stupid. Sorry about that, guys. You heard a bunch of noise in the background. Let's see. So Nintendo owns Astral Chain, but Wonderful 101 doesn't have his trademark barrier. Let's see. 101's. Something tells me that Wonderful 101 has like a weird ownership. That's the one thing I'm not sure of. That's the only thing that I think is weird. Is that maybe, well, that could be true. That Platinum bought the rights. Well, I mean, there's been a bunch of I don't believe that Phil would have bought Platinum. Not now, anyway. We'll see, but I don't believe he bought Platinum. See, the problem is Platinum has their hands in a lot of shit, but that's the only thing I'm not sure about. But apparently, I'm looking at it. Wonderful 101 had a bunch of barriers with its trademark in the first place because of the 101 that was in Wonderful 101's name. Yeah, Square owns the Nier franchise. For example, 101 didn't sell through its first shipment in the first 6 months when it came out. It's like one of their biggest flops, for example. So you think they could have sold the rights back to Platinum? For all we know, the Kickstarter rumor is off and they're doing something else. This is backed by Liam Robinson. And last time he was writing anything. I don't know. The last thing he ever talked about, I remember him talking about, was the whole Scalebound situation. That's the only part about it that makes me... Yeah, because the Kickstarter doesn't make sense. I could understand it getting ported to Switch. That makes sense to me. And maybe Platinum... But I don't understand the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter might be for a completely different game. Because it doesn't make sense to be like, oh yeah, by the way, this IP that Nintendo owns, they're giving us the ability to start a Kickstarter that allows us to port it to other systems. And even the image that was on the Twitter, which I'll pull up and get rid of this Pokemon Home stuff because we're done with that conversation. Where the fuck? Let me get rid of this. Let's see. Remove. Where is that Kamiya picture he posted? That image only shows a Switch in the Wonderful 101. It doesn't show anything else. Let's see. Copy image. Let's see. Maybe I should do copy image address and then let's see. I did the same thing twice, god damn it. Yeah, the Kickstarter thing is the one that makes the least sense to me, yo. I could probably accept everything else, but that shit, yeah. So this is the image. This is the image that kind of sparked the whole conversation in the first place. But the problem with this image is that even if you want to have the 104 101, which is shown by like the 101 in the clock there, and it says, I don't think the date's right, but that, and then you have a switch. There's nothing to make me think that there's a Kickstarter coming. Is there anything in this image? Oh, and I guess that, and even if we humor the whole Kickstarter rumor, right? It didn't sell well on Nintendo. It might sell okay on PlayStation. It's probably not gonna sell well on Xbox though. Like it's like Platinum games don't sell well in general. Even Bayonetta doesn't sell well. Bayonetta, I think neither of the Bayonettas on Switch or Wii U sold 1 million. I think the Wii U one might be near it, but I know the one on Switch hasn't sold 1 million as of currently. I actually can go double check that one real quick. Let's see, EG charts. I'm like 90% sure Bayonetta has not sold 1 million. Only the first Bayonetta game sold 1 million, and even then it wasn't like. And I think it's the PS3 version, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, the PS3 version sold 1 million. Then the 360 version sold. Come on, game, load it. Yeah, like I'm actually surprised Astral Chain sold as well. Well, even if Platinum Games has a Kickstarter page, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the game they're gonna do. That would, to me, that does not seem like the game to do personally. Yeah, let's see. The 360 version, I think, sold 1 million, didn't it? No? No! The 360 version of Bayonetta didn't even sell 1 million. And then Bayonetta 2, the Wii U version of Bayonetta 2 actually is still outsold the Switch version of it, which is a shame because that game needs more sales. Like Bayonetta 2 is sold almost 1 million. It's at like 860,000. I don't even know where the fuck Bayonetta 2 on the Switch is at. Let's see. We're just checking this out. It's a little bit over 500,000. Bayonetta, like one of their prime franchises, don't sell that well, which sucks. And hell, the original game didn't even sell well for Sega. Sega was like, I don't know, man, you only sold 1 million. That's not the most appealing thing on the planet. I'm curious how well the Vanquish bundle is gonna sell. I'm only trusting VG Charts because VG Charts is the only game. It's the only site we really have to go by. Plus, Nintendo would have announced it if they had sold 1 million anyway, because Nintendo has their million sellers. But yeah, Nier and Astral Chain are their biggest sellers. And how much did Nier even sell? I know it sold well. I just don't remember how well. Let's check. Nier Automata on the PS4 sold 2,200,000 units, and that was based back in 2018. Do they even have the fucking numbers for the Xbox version? Because I'm pretty sure that didn't sell well. Yo, the Vanquish 2 rumor makes sense. I wouldn't be too surprised. I heard it didn't sell well on the Well, let's check. Let's check Vanquish. We're gonna go on a fucking a history spree with Platinum Games. But yeah, I don't believe if Nintendo owns the trademark to Wonderful 101, I don't believe in the Kickstarter rumor. The Kickstarter rumor just doesn't make sense to me. Vanquish, I think, was another game that didn't sell well. Let's see. It says the highest selling version is the PS3 version. So we're going to see how well did the PS3 version sell. The PS3 version didn't even sell 1 million. This PS3 version of Vanquish sold 600,000. Bruh. Oh, Jesus Christ. The Vanquish, Platinum makes niche games. I think they actually would do better being owned by a bigger company, because then they would get access to more funds. But I think they like being kind of in this third party situation. Let's see, it took months for, it makes more sense for Platinum to have a Kickstarter for a new IP. That would make more sense to me. But isn't Mad World I thought was open. Is that Capcom? Who owns Mad World? This is what we've done. We've gone into a rabbit hole. Because now I'm curious. Is Mad World owned by Nintendo? Let's see. Who owns Mad World? Let's see. Looks like nobody owns Mad World right now. Oh, no, Sega. Sega owns Mad World. I'm dumb. Yes, Sega owns Mad World. Which I think is what they were doing for the longest time. They were having... Remember, they did a lot of games through Sega. So Sega owns a bunch of IPs. Pretty much most of the IPs they work on, they don't own. They only own, like... They're the developers on it, and they get paid as developers, but they don't own any of these IPs. Hell, they share ownership of Bayonetta. Like, I think Bayonetta 1, I think, is only owned between Platinum and Sega. And then Bayonetta 2 and 3 is owned through Platinum, Sega, and Nintendo. Let's see. Yeah. Platinum just doesn't have a lot of money. And even if they do, they always have to... They're essentially making games that they don't have rights to. Bayonetta's like the only, like, one of their only babies. And even that has, like, 3 owners of it. Bayonetta is a whore in this situation. Because Sega has the hand in there, which I think is what they had to do just to get that game made. Platinum has a portion, and Nintendo has a portion. I'm curious how much of the Bayonetta trademark is actually Platinum's. Like, I'm assuming... It's weird because Sega didn't even want to make another one. Sega still has ownership of it, but they wouldn't make another one. The only reason why Nintendo was allowed is because Nintendo said, fuck it, we'll do the perishing... what did I say? Not perishing, the publishing rights. But the contract was that it can only be on Nintendo. I'm just curious right now. This is me being... Yeah, here we go. Let's look. Oh, fuck you. I'm checking right now just to see who actually owns Bayonetta. So right now it seems to be... Sega, I think, owns the trademark. So actually, Sega owns the trademark. The rights belong to Sega Nintendo. Yeah, Sega's only listed on the trademark. That tells me it's kind of weird. Kind of weird. These are like, it's just, Platinum just has a weird history. But that kind of suffers when you're like a niche studio. who essentially has to make their living off of doing these third-party kind of games. Move. Yeah. As I just looked up. Which is kind of a weird thing that Sega owns the IP, Platinum owns development rights, and Nintendo owns the ability to publish the games. And it's only the second and third game. They can't even publish the first one. They can be given the first one, but even then, like, Bayo is such a weird position, bruh. I feel bad because I don't think Sega will ever let go of that IP. And I feel bad because I feel like that IP would work better if Nintendo owned it. Then again, a lot of people made the argument that Nintendo should own Sega too, but I don't know if Nintendo will ever do that. Yeah. Because all the other IPs they made, Capcom owned. Platinum doesn't, I don't think, even owns any real IPs. Or if they do, it's very few. But considering they've been making primarily like third-party titles, or titles on other systems, I think they don't own any of their IPs. I think most of those IPs either belong to Sega or Nintendo or whoever they're working with, like Square and shit. Well, that also Nintendo would own Atlas, which I think is a huge fuck. I think that's a bigger deal than anything else that they would own Atlas. But the thing is, Nintendo really doesn't need to, because Nintendo and Sega have such a good relationship. They're always fucking talking. Well, Sega just beat Nintendo to the punch with Atlas. And like I said, most of the time, Sega and Nintendo are on pretty decent terms. So most of the games they do get. Sonic is defaulted on Nintendo. Bayonetta is essentially defaulted in Nintendo. You're gonna get some Atlas. Right now, it seems like Shin Megami Tensei is defaulted to Nintendo. We get a good chunk. Most of the games we get that are new, Sega is like, all right, cool, here we go. So that's it. But I think I've rambled on enough, so we're going to go through some questions. So like I said, if you want me to answer your questions, put it in the damn chat in the Discord under questions for AME. Because that would benefit you. So I have a question for you. Do you want a sequel to ARMS? Because I think there could be potential there since they've been doing updates like Splatoon. They could give each character some combos and give them supers, not the game's generic Gatling attack. ARMS has a bunch of fucking potential. ARMS, I think, will get a sequel. It just won't get a sequel like soon. It'll probably get it. If it gets a sequel, it'll be next generation for Nintendo. ARMS sold enough for them not to be like. Also, it's the Mario Kart team, so it depends on what the Mario Kart team is doing, which is funny considering there seems to be rumors going around that Mario Kart 9 is being made. Which wouldn't surprise me considering the main game of Mario Kart 8 was done back in 2014 is when the game came out. And I think the DLC came out in 2015, so I probably would say Mario Kart 8 has been done since 2016 at the early, and then they made ARMS. And ARMS came out 2017, so they've been at least free for like, what is that, going on 3 years? Oh yeah, I already read the One Piece chapter. But I definitely want a sequel to ARMS. I fucking love ARMS. But ARMS unfortunately doesn't have like mass appeal. And ARMS didn't have enough at launch. Like ARMS' core concept wasn't as like appealing as Splatoon's. Because Splatoon and ARMS had the same business strategy, but Splatoon was way more marketable with its characters and its gameplay style than ARMS was. ARMS kind of had the characters, but its gameplay style wasn't as marketable as like Splatoon's was. But I think they will probably do an ARMS too. I think it sold well enough. The problem with ARMS is ARMS didn't have longevity. Like ARMS got in, made its money, and got out. Splatoon has become like a real like AAA franchise for Nintendo. So yeah, I would definitely love to see what ARMS. The question is when, not if. Then I got one from Lightning. What are you looking forward to the most in 2020? The problem is that 2020 is kind of a weird year. A lot of I'm trying to think. I don't have a lot I'm looking forward to because remember this is the year of new consoles. A bunch of game delays have happened, and Nintendo is probably the most mysterious they've been so far. Meaning I don't know enough. I don't know enough to really be excited about anything. Because fuck Marvel's Avengers, I don't care. Don't care about Ghost of Tsushima. Never cared about Last of Us. It will, Mars. It just won't go the way you could have. If you're gonna donate, the reason why the gauge doesn't go up is because the gauge is tied to the Streamlabs, which is a link in the description. If you want to donate for this gauge to go up, then Streamlabs. But either way, it's fine because $2 will still help. I just won't see that $2 for like another 20 something days, I think. But I appreciate it anyways, Mars. I appreciate it. Yeah, Splatoon has more staying power. What's up, Laker Link? But in 2020, I don't have a lot of games I'm looking forward to because there's not a lot of games I know about. Bravely Default 2 is one of them. But I think that's like the only one that's been confirmed. Like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, I'm interested in, but I need to see more of that game. So right now, like, I feel like it's too early to be asking me that question. We need to have like a Nintendo Direct or a presentation from one of these other companies. Because right now, I'm cool and I'm chilling. There's nothing like I'm freaking out over. You don't have to donate through the thing. I'm just saying. The reason why the gauge doesn't go up is if you donate through YouTube's super chat, that money doesn't show. I won't get that money until like a month later. But either way, it's good. I appreciate the effort anyway. Doom Eternal. See, I didn't even finish the first Doom. That's why I'm not as excited about Doom Eternal. I need more time and news to come out for me to get excited about these other games. For me personally. Future goals. Well, I'm starting a new job, so we'll see if depending on how the new job and everything works, I may end up getting out. Oh yeah, Resident Evil 3, that's one. But I can't say I'm like overly excited about that because that'll be like Resident Evil 2 remake for me, where I'm just getting into it. Like it's not gonna be one of those ones where I'm like, oh man, it's crazy, it's Resident Evil 3. My interest in Resident Evil 3 is because of Resident Evil 2 remake. But that is a game I am interested in looking into. But future goals in terms of the channel, like I said, probably in the next once I get adjusted to this new job, I'm gonna see about having some guest nights. So I'm gonna make that kind of a Patreon goal. So like, if you're in a certain tier, you are guaranteed to have like a spot on here when I do these videos, so we can have like more of a conversation. So if we have dead weeks of news, there'll still be entertaining content. So yeah, future goals is that, and in life, I'm just making some money and trying to get the fuck out of my parents' house. Let's see. Next one is from Rio Condoriano, which I think, isn't that from Bleach? There's a Bleach reference. After Forces, do you think it's possible to make another great 3D Sonic game, or do we just need to stick with 2D? You said 2S, but I know you meant 2D. They need to get consistent developers. Like I feel like Force's whole pitch, which was from the developers of Sonic Generations, but like that's a bait and switch because the developers on Sonic Generations weren't really. They were like, it was like two developers. Like they need to. I think the main thing Sonic needs is consistency. You need to pick a gameplay style, polish the fuck out of it, and stick with it for a while. Because it's insane that Sonic changes game mechanics so frequently. Like, there's a difference between, like, I would say the adventure style mechanics is based in Sonic Adventure 1, 2. Because Heroes, I think, has a different engine, is using a different engine. And then you had, what? I'm trying to think. 2000, that was 2003. What was the next game? Was it Shadow? Shadow, I think, uses the Heroes engine. 06 uses a completely different engine. Unleash uses a new engine. Then you move into Colors, which uses a modified version of the Unleash engine. Generation uses a modified version of the Unleash engine. Lost Road uses a completely different engine. And then I think fucking Forces uses a janky version. Boom, we don't talk about. And then I think Forces uses a janky version of the Unleash engine, which is just crazy. Oh, a lot of people do have 2 or 3 jobs. But at that point, I'd be ready to shoot myself. I'm not going to break my back. Especially because I'm privileged enough to have the ability to not have to do that. But they need to be consistent. So I think they can do 3D games. They just need to fucking stick with one gameplay style. Holy shit. That's like my biggest problem. Stick with it and polish it. Don't do the shit where you switch every other day. Because that's the shit that becomes an issue. And that's what makes things hard. So, moving on. Low-key, I want to see a Nintendo versus Sega fighting game. That would be interesting. I wouldn't be against it, especially because half of those Sega characters you haven't seen in years. I guess the question would be who would develop it, which is funny because I think we just found out one of the producers off of the Tatsunoko versus Capcom, and I think Marvel vs. Capcom 3 just left Capcom. But he's like, I'll still be being a producer in fighting games. I'm curious where he's going to go next. There are a couple of fighting game developers he could go to, but I'm curious where he's going to go. Because you left Capcom, which is arguably the biggest fighting game developer you can go to. So the question would be, who else could you? I mean, you can go to Bandai. You could go to Arc System Works. You could go to SNK. I'm curious where that'll lead in the future. Just curious. That's more of an interesting future exploit. I don't know how that's going to go. But I am definitely intrigued by all that. So, yeah. Lightning asking, can you recommend me The Evil Within? That's one I'll look up later, and then I'll let you know. I still got to get through Dad of War and then Mega Man 11, so streaming-wise, it won't come up for a bit, but that is something I will look at. And then lazy ones like Ass or Tits, choose. I'm a man who is a lover of the hourglass frame, so it's a cop-out because I like both. I like both. I don't give a damn, I like both. The female version of my avatar has both, so that should be a good understanding. And for those who haven't seen the female version of my avatar, I will grace your eyes with it real quick. I think most of you have seen it, to be fair, but for those who haven't. Well, yeah, Capcom fighting games have fallen off in recent years. Street Fighter V, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I keep doing that Marvel Ultimate shit. But I agree, they have fallen off. Let's see. TGF. Let's see. Now I can't even find it. Oh, because I called it something else. That would explain a lot. I'm so dumb. As you can see, I am a fan of the thickness on both sides of the hourglass figure. And now you guys are just trying to keep me here. I've already been recording. I need to end the damn episode. Jesus Christ. I'll leave that up there for the rest of the stream. But I am a fan of hourglass figures. So, fan art is also welcome. I probably won't get any, but fan art is very welcome of all this nonsense, alright? I don't give a fuck. Best JRPGs this and last gen, which is hard because I don't remember a lot of them. Xenoblade 2 is like top 10 for me. I want to put Dragon Quest on there, but I need to finish Dragon Quest 11 before I can openly say that. I don't know if you count Fire Emblem. I would say Fire Emblem Fates is my favorite JRPG. Token Mirage Sessions I thought was really good. I'm trying to think from the Wii, PS3, and 360 era. What JRPGs? The Tales games I didn't play much of, so I can't talk about those. What else came out that was a JRPG during that era? I feel like JRPGs weren't as popular back then. You always have characters in your cover photo. No, I do that because I'll sometimes bring them up. I was bringing them up in the last few episodes because of the delay of the game, but The Last of Us, I know a good amount of people like. So, I'm not overly interested in it, but I could. With JRPGs, I'm trying to think what else. I didn't play a lot of JRPGs last gen. Bravely Default, Octopath. I didn't finish the Dragon Quest 8 3DS port, but that was really good. But I feel like it's not fair to put it on there because I didn't finish it. And I can't put the original Xenoblade on here because, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were mainly on like the 3DS. Like Shin Megami Tensei, I didn't finish it, so I don't want to talk about it. I don't really care for Persona 5, but I know a lot of people like it. And then Persona 4 was PlayStation 2 actually, so that doesn't even count as last gen. JRPGs didn't really only started recently making a resurgence, which is kind of crazy in retrospect. But that's because no one likes standard turn-based combat. Fuck you guys. But yeah, I think that's all the questions. So if you want your question to be answered, please leave the question in the chat, in the Discord, under podcasts, under questions for AME. I didn't play Digimon, so I can't have that on my list. That could be on your list, though, Static. But yeah, leave questions there. Next week we'll have more to talk about because some shit will be confirmed and there might potentially be a direct. I don't know. But only time will tell. And now I have to go because I have to record the Pokemon episode review. And then I also have to go to the gym. And then also get ready for the new job. It's a lot of alsos on top of alsos on top of alsos on top of alsos. Oh! World with You is God tier, but that's also a DS game. That's not a generation ago. Well, I guess actually technically it would be, and I'm lying. It would be a generation ago. With all that being said, thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for the love. Thank you, Mars, for the donation, the $2 donation. I appreciate it. Thank you just for all the support and everything. And moving into the new year, we're going to continue to grind and build this shit up. If you want to follow me on the other channels, Manic is the anime channel. Twitter is at the Game Manic. Thank you for the congratulations, Anime Reaper. And Twitch is at the Insane Game Freak. Sorry, it's a lot. I apologize. It's all in the goddamn description for all the other links. And with that being, and also, podcast tomorrow on Juice's channel. The Juice is Loose. Terminator Juice. See you guys there. Loves the game. Play to win. I'll catch you guys later. It's okay, Mars. I appreciate it either way. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Oh.